John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
But I would like to begin with this. That yesterday when we were on the airwaves, I had no idea that in the afternoon it would be Mike Missanelli's last show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And I can only tell you this. I first met Mike as an intern when at WIP, when Mike was doing shows with Steve Fredericks. Steve Fredericks, still one of the greatest legends and a guy who doesn't get talked about enough in this market. As far as when you're talking about the history of sports talk radio, Steve Fredericks was truly one of the pioneers. And somehow he corralled the young writer, Mike Missanelli, in and sort of showed him the ropes and taught him the ropes. And those two had a magic chemistry. And honestly, I think I liked a lot of what Mike Missanelli did in his career. But when he worked with Steve Fredericks, I thought it was absolutely radio gold. Those two were absolutely tremendous together. And I got to know Mike when I was an intern first, very much in passing. And then over the years, we would cross paths. I know there was ESPN The Weekends, where Mike would be down in Florida, and I would be down there doing my show. And Mike would be kind enough to not only take you out for meet. You want to go have dinner, but pick a nice bottle of red wine and also pick up the tab. Mike Missanelli had over the years I had many interactions with Mike, and I believe him to be exactly one of the greatest who ever did that job, obviously in this market. And when I was deciding, where my future was going to be, and I had the great opportunity to come here, one of the major reasons I wanted to do it is because of Anthony Gargano and Mike Missanelli being a part of the team. And that's exactly what I said when I was asked about it. To have two guys like that in the lineup, I felt like I was Nick Castellanos coming to a team that...
You were on the bench?
Already had some great bats in place. Already had some great talents in place that I greatly respected. To become and be part of the team. Mike and I didn't always see the world in the same way, as you know. We have different worldviews on a lot of things, but you know what it never did? It never caused us to have venom between us. It caused us to sometimes have a crossword or two back and forth, but he's a great guy, and I respect Mike Missanelli, and I will miss being a part of the team that Mike Missanelli was a part of. And I wish him nothing but the best. I think he was a fantastic guy in this medium for a long time. And in this medium, when you're behind a microphone, you piss a lot of people off. And some people agree with you and some people disagree with you. And it'll always be the anonymous, faceless people that are the worst. Because that's how they live their lives, anonymously and facelessly, in their critique and otherwise. But I wish Mike the best, and I will miss him being a part of this radio station. And I hope that hopefully we'll find ways to have Mike be a part of the radio station in the future. Robert?
Yeah, exactly. And look, we would only benefit from that. And I'm going to have a Cooney's column on Mike a little bit later in the show and express some thoughts. It's been a crazy time with legends leaving airwaves lately, and it's going to continue a little bit. And things come to an end, and a lot of times you don't want them to, and they must. But, everything that you said, John, look, I don't know if there's a 97.5 The Fanatic without Mike Missanelli. So for that, obviously, tips of the cap to him, and thankful for everything he did.
We know the answer to that. There isn't. Mike put this radio station on the map.
Yeah.
Mike put it on the map.
Yeah,
Mike gave it credibility.
It's the reason I felt comfortable leaving my old job and coming here to the station that was the startup in town, the new kid, and I felt like, okay, well, I have some stability in my plan here because Mike Missanelli built this station and he made it what it is. And sad day to lose him as a full-time coworker yesterday. But yeah, I mean, we all here at 97.5 The Fanatic owe Mike Missanelli pretty much everything. I mean, he made this station viable, and I can't thank him enough for that.
A lot of credibility comes when you put a name like Mike Missanelli in the lineup, Pat.
Yeah, when I started here as an intern, he was the guy. He was the guy here when I started listening to the station. He remained the guy until yesterday. And I don't think that this station survives without Mike Missanelli, because there were some days there where it was lineup was a little thin, let's call it. And Mike Missanelli was the stability that you need. And he gave, incredible shows, which was thought-provoking in not only sports, but worldviews as well. And he is the greatest to ever do it in this city.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at and I look at Mike too. And when the day that the news broke, and I purposely did not talk to Mike about potentially coming here because I was told not to, talk to anybody about it. And the day it happened, Mike immediately reached out, and we had a great conversation. And I was glad to be on his team for a year and a half. And congratulations to Mike on whatever the future holds. And he's got a lot going on. Gosh, I know this. I'd park my backside down at that shore house for this summer, and I'd have my feet up, and I'd be seeing how that ocean breeze feels.
Well, he's going to have one foot up because he's 8 weeks out from getting a cast removed.
He's got a great wine and bourbon collection. I think he'll be all right.
Does he have to wrap it in plastic or something to walk on the sand?
That's what he said yesterday.
It's my God.
He's not moving well. That's
and when I'm hearing
certain.
when I'm hearing feet issues too, I mean, that sucks. Hopefully, radio doesn't give you feet issues. Because that's just awful.
There may have been a basketball involvement with that injury.
I think there could be. Yeah,
not radio.
Yeah. So thank you, Michael. And I use that as Steve Fredericks used to call him Michael.
Yeah, I say that to him.
Do you remember?
Well, my dad.
Are you too young?
No, my dad would listen to it, but it didn't really register with me. But every Friday night when I come in to do draft lines with Devon, I always enter the room and go, "Hello, Michael."
And he would just Steve Fredericks, and Bob remembers it. Steve Fredericks, who I still think is never talked about enough in this town as being one of the legends who got this industry started and gave it viability in this town. He wrangled Mike coming out of the newspaper industry and literally had a ability to control Mike in a way that had calm him down and go, Michael, calm down, Michael. And he would just be this and Steve was such a sage and wise guy.
Yeah.
They had a partnership that was incredible.
Yeah,
it was to me it was some of the best tandem work I've ever heard in this town, and it's not close.
Yeah, most people say that.
It was fantastic.
Mike was telling me last night that when he first started, because Mike and I's paths, not that I'm as successful as Mike, are similar. Newspaper guys that went into the radio business. And Mike said, yeah, they threw him in with Steve Fredericks, because I was asking him last night, when did you start and all that exactly? And he said, yeah, they threw me in, and I was nervous as hell. And then 4 months in, I was like, oh, my God, I made the wrong decision. Did I make the right decision? And he said he talked to Steve. And Steve was the one that calmed him down and said, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. He signed a 1-year contract, make or break contract. And here we are how many years later.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And congratulations again to Mike.
The John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.